Yo, my name is Aleja Adebowale, and it's amazing, and new episode of New Sisters to Sports, the number one Canadian sports on airing, of course, on our band radio scope on Queen's Talk TV on Amazon, and of course on our YouTube channel. My name is, like I said, my name is Aleja Adebowale, and we have a whole lot of package for you today, talking about a host of things within the sporting world. I'm going to be riding solo today, at least for now. Guests will be joined by someone else before the end of the show. If not, you're just going to be seeing three people, which is going to be myself, me, and I. Like I said, welcome to the show again. This show is proudly sponsored by Bukenzo Glams. And of course, like I said, we're airing, of course, on the TV and, of course, on the radio as you like it. Of course, we stream live on our Facebook page, News Instant Sports, and of course on our Twitter account as well, News Instant 2. And you can follow, like, and subscribe if you like the content that you're seeing right now. What we're discussing today goes to be bordered around a whole lot of things. First and foremost is the best of Alexis Sanchez versus the best of the Prime Hazard. We're going to be talking about who had the better season. Is it Arsenal, Manchester United, or West Ham? And of course, what's the respite for Romelu Lukaku after the Istanbul defeat against Manchester City? Is he going to be going back to Chelsea? Is he going to stay at Inter Milan, or like everybody else, move to Saudi Arabia? Of course, Joe Bellingham, £88.5 million deal to Real Madrid will be discussed in detail as well. And who should be on the podium for this year Ballon d'Or? I'd like your opinion about that as well. And of course, people are asking that question: who is better, Enzo Fernandez or Bruno Fernandez? And of course, Ruben Neves is moving to Al Ahly in in Saudi Arabia, and I'm like, realistically, what's happening? Are we is that some kind of joke? This and more we'll be discussing on the show. Let's go on a quick break right now. When we'll come back, we'll be discussing all these in details. Don't go anywhere, guys. Yo, guys, so I'm back, and of course, we'll be discussing what exactly is happening. And we'll be starting with the Prime Alexis Sanchez versus Prime Hazard debate. And people have been commenting about this, especially on Twitter. It's been buzzing that who is better? Is it going to be people? Some people are pitching their tent with Alexis. And actually, what brought about this particular situation is the fact that Alexis is trying to come back to Arsenal, according to unconfirmed report. Alexis is trying to come back to Arsenal, and of course, given that Hazard had a whooping 76 goals, 76 games over the course of about 4 or 3 years at Real Madrid, and had just a whooping 7 goals. And I'm using the word whooping, of course, skeptically, or you guys should feel the unity. But of course, before I move on, I say anything, I have to welcome to the show Oracle Kachi. Oracle Kachi, I don't know who is going to be pitching his stage with, but of course, Kachi is here. Kachi, introduce yourself to the guest as usual.
Sports
I know what you're going to say first. I'm going to say it's always amazing to be here.
No,
That's so boring.
it's a privilege and a pleasure to do this. We don't take it for granted, knowing that we have people who, even though we don't know your faces, we see your names, we see you on the other side of the screen watching us. While you may think not a lot has happened in the world of sport, quite a few things have been happening. Canada had its own edition of the Formula One Grand Prix. Verstappen still cruising to his third title, but we'll leave that on the side. There's really nothing interesting happening. He starts from pole, finishes the pole. There's really nothing happening in F1. I do want to say congratulations to the Nigerian Super Eagles for qualifying for the next edition
Nice
of
cover.
the African Cup of Nations tournament to hold, I believe, in Ivory Coast.
Uh-huh.
And also to say, for whatever happens at the end of this game in the UEFA Nations League, the Croats should hold their head high. In the last 5 years, they've been to two finals, one semi-final. For a nation that is less than 10 million people, that is an amazing feat. And I do have what I want to say concerning what are their names? Alexi Sanchez and
Eden Hazard.
I'm not going to choose a side. However, it is interesting to know that these two people both went to La Liga and they both struggled. So it says a lot about how much talented we really think they are, especially when they play alongside players with either equal or even a superior level of talent they have. It tells me that the English League still has a lot of growing up, talent and technique wise to do.
And of course, happy Father's Day to you, Oracle Kachi. I know you're one of the most amazing father that I know of in this world. So happy Father's Day to you.
Thank
You
you very
deserve it.
I forgot to mention that Happy Father's Day to every father that is and father to be across the globe. We celebrate you on this only day that we have to celebrate ourselves.
This only day. No, you get celebrated every day. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for joining the show, Kachi. I was just before you jumped in, I was just discussing Alexis and Eden Hazard and how these two guys have been sorry about that, guys. I don't know what exactly is happening with my audio today. Kachi, if you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. Sorry about that, guys. So I was just talking about Alexis and of course Eden Hazard, how they performed at in Spain, how terrible Eden was uh, due to injury, and Alexis because of lack of space. When he was given a chance, he scored and he played pretty well. But the prime of both players came in the English Premier League. Alexis, with the influence of Mesut Ozil, created a telepathic formation or telepathic. They gelled basically. They gelled basically, and they formed. That was a formidable duo, a dynamic duo for Arsenal. Give them, I think, if I'm not wrong, 3 FA Cup within the space of 4 years under the stewardship of Arsene Wenger. And of course, Eden Hazard was just in blistering form. from his days at Lille. Came to Chelsea after that victorious Chelsea campaign in the UEFA Champions League. Chose Chelsea above over that person. Real Madrid was in for him. Manchester United was in for him. Arsenal was in for him as well. A whole lot of clubs were in for him, but he decided to go to Chelsea. Came to Chelsea, did excellently well. This is a guy that win games in Guadeloupe on his own, and he left Chelsea with an European trophy as well. Kachi, honestly, looking at these two players, you'd be like, okay, what exactly are we talking about here? Who should we give the flowers to? Is it going to be Eden Hazard, or is it going to be, of course, Alexis Sanchez? Who are you pitching your tent with? You're muted, as a matter of fact, Kachi.
Thanks for that. It's a very narrow one, but I'll give the slight edge to Eden Hazard, um, simply because of how he elevated the overall Chelsea play. Um, uh, for Alexis was like a key piece in a well-oiled Arsenal machine, albeit inconsistent, but it was a well-oiled machine. On their day, they could beat anyone. They just struggled to beat those who were members of the Big Six, as it were then. Eden, on the other hand, elevated a team that you could argue was mid to average, from formidable defensive shape, but nothing happening creatively from the middle to the attack. And that was what Eden Hazard provided. So, because of how valuable he was to how the Chelsea of that period played, how decisive he was as well, I think I give that edge. And ultimately, they got an European trophy out of him.
Yeah.
Not saying he got to. He was the only one that played and won, but they got a trophy out of
And he
him.
defeated Arsenal in the final as well.
So that's the cherry on top. Also, I think you get to see how their departures from their respective English clubs played out, and it begins to let you know that sometimes, it's not always greener on the other side, and that's really not anyone's fault. Players are always naturally hungry, and you want to play for the biggest club. Alexis obviously tried his hand with Barcelona. To your point, you said yes, lack of starting opportunities. You might want to argue that, but I totally believe that if you play better during training, there is no way they would bench you.
No, not against a Messi.
But Eden Hazard, I think what Alexis would have over him, because I think this is, and to be really objective, this is how I see it. They have certain strengths that the other one does not have, and vice versa. Alexis, we know him to be a ferocious trainer, trains hard, works very hard, tracks back, helps the team. Like I said, a key member of a well-oiled machine. Eden was not the most disciplined trainer. I'm sure you've listened to the Mikel Obi interview where he talked about how Eden trained. However, Eden was the one that elevated a supposedly average Chelsea side to otherworldly levels. I still remember his goal. I believe it was in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup against Liverpool. Also goals against Arsenal as well. So there were some things that Eden did well that you say Alexis probably didn't do so well. I won't say he didn't do so well, but just
not as much as Eden did.
Exactly. But when it comes to training and the hunger for the game, definitely have to give it to Alexis Sanchez. His failure at United wasn't for lack of trying. It really was because the United team. It's now that you look back, you realize, man, that United team. I think
Alexis was just greedy. Alexis was supposed to go to Manchester City. Not United.
City, but come on. When I believe it was trying to remember the Brazilian guy now who played for AC Milan, played for Madrid, and played for City. I can't remember his name for the love of me. Anyway, this guy said he thought he was going to Chelsea because they told him it's
Robinho.
Robinho, because they told him it's the Blues, and he ended up with Manchester City.
That guy is just a liar.
Sometimes you go where the money is the biggest for you, and they secure your future.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
520K as of then. That was no small money, man.
Come on.
Any that. And I can remember it's on Vayne at United. It was on the piano. Like, okay, Alexis, you're gone. Bye. We'll see you later. But of course, nobody expected the decline that we saw
It was
in Alexis at Manchester United. Nobody expected that. It was
too drastic of a decline.
Yeah.
It to make you wonder if Arsene had an inkling to that and knew that, okay, this guy wasn't training at the level he was
before.
Only because he was a key cog of, like I said, a well-functioning midfield triumphant, that they were able to hide those shortcomings.
Yeah.
And the suitors in Manchester United and Manchester City did not see it. But then because what Arsenal is doing now is the reverse of what City did the last 5 to 6 years, which was go to Arsenal, raid all Arsenal from Guy Clichy to Adebayo to
Kolo Toure.
You can just mention
Sam Nasri.
It was just a case of go to Arsenal and get them to play and win the title. So Arsenal is only doing what City did to them 5-6 years ago.
All right, perfect. And of course, to another one, and which is I don't know, it's not so elaborate, but it's a topic we're discussing. What next for Romelu Lukaku? Lukaku moved to Chelsea for an FT fee of in excess of £90 million. He struggled on that TT, loaned out on that TT back to Inter Milan, where he triumphed. He played so well, and under Simone Inzaghi, he has struggled. It's an obvious situation under Inzaghi. He brought himself back from the dead, so to speak. And don't forget, and this is a part of Lukaku that people don't see or people don't want to talk about because of his deficiencies. Lukaku actually had a nasty injury pre-World Cup. He was not fit enough to go to the World Cup, but he went to the World Cup all the same, had these struggles, and this was actually revealed by Thierry Henry. And he brought himself back, trained, had this kind of situation, worked himself back into the team slowly. And now we are seeing a Lukaku, maybe a Lukaku that we've not seen in a very long time, in about 1 year. But now he has to go back to Chelsea. Chelsea has a new coach in Mauricio Pochettino, and that makes you start throw the question: is he going to play under Mauricio? Is Mauricio going to give him a chance that he needs so badly? Is he going to stay back at Inter Milan? Is he going to get a sack at Chelsea, or is going to find a new club where he could get a short-term loan and fix his career, or like everybody is doing these days? Man, go to Saudi Arabia and make some money.
He's been offered $50 million a year to come to the Saudi Arabia Professional League.
Oh, nice.
But what I know from information reaching us is that he has indicated his interest to remain at Inter Milan. But if I was Mauricio Pochettino, I would say, because you have trained well with Inter, you can probably miss the pre-season and come and try out with us here in Chelsea and see what you can do. I say so because he already has an understanding of how things operate in Inter. He can come 2 to 3 weeks before the start of the season and just dovetail with the rest of the team. He's been there. We all know Simone Inzaghi is not the one calling the shots when it comes to player personnel in Inter Milan right now. He is their coach, but his word is not law. So he may not want Lukaku because Lukaku simply hasn't thrived under him. But there's no better way to say it than to just admit he has not thrived under Inzaghi. However, the leadership of Inter Milan may like him because for him to openly indicate his interest means he has someone, he's in the good books of those who really matter there. But I think if I was him, I will tell the management of Inter Allow me spend July, August, or at least 4 weeks on preseason training under Mauricio Pochettino and see what uh, is in store for me. It's easy for me to go there, see him, have the discussion with him, know whether I'm a part of his plans
or not.
or not before making whatever call, because he's on a very hefty salary right now. He, it's hard to think of any team that wants to compete for serious silverware that would consider Lukaku as one of their top transfer choices right now. So if he's not in Inter or in Chelsea, then he should expect either a pay cut to remain in Europe or take the $50 million a year offer and move to Saudi
I'll
Arabia.
move to Saudi Arabia. Of course, Olale is in now, right now. Olale, I can see you, I can hear you. But if you're with me, let me know. Olale is here with us, so I would like him to introduce himself when he's ready. Olale, when you're ready, let me know. Give me the thumbs up. And of course, this next one is actually Olale's topic. Olale, you can unmute yourself when you're ready. This one is actually Olale's topic. Who had a better season?
Okay.
Arsenal, Manchester United, or West Ham? Olale, introduce yourself to the fans before we move ahead.
Okay. Good day, sporting fans. Welcome to the show. Don't let me. I won't take your time since the program it's on already. So hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you 100%. Go ahead.
Yeah. So on the question you just asked now, looking at it critically, I think the best way for me to answer it is this. I think West Ham, United, and Arsenal, they are not in the same category. I think we can just put West Ham aside.
They won
With all due
European
respect,
trophy.
It's no
They
matter.
won an European
I
trophy.
I,
Don't put
I,
them
I,
aside,
I, I,
Olale. They
I
won it.
understand what I'm
And
saying.
oh, okay. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I understand what I'm saying. They finish in the bottom half of the league, around 16th or 15th year about. It could have been a disaster for them. Yes, I acknowledge the fact that they won, what do you call it, an European title. I understand the fact that that was their first title in over 40 something years. But again, don't let us pretend like winning a conference league will guarantee you a slot in next year. The best
Champions.
in the conference league, the best the conference league title guarantees them is a slot in the Europa League next season.
Uh-huh.
You understand? So based on West Ham as a team, you can score their season because of what they won, a 7/10. But that doesn't mean that they've had a better season than a
That's
United
now.
or Arsenal. So that's where I will put
Okay.
the European title is good for them on their own part. But now going back to United and Arsenal,
Yeah.
for me, I think the best way I look at this is which of the two teams. I think both teams looking at taking this back to the beginning of last season. Taking back to the beginning of that last season. If you have given Arsenal, what do you call it? If you have told Arsenal that they will finish second in the Premier League, they will gladly take it.
They won't
If you have
believe it.
probably, yeah, you understand. If you probably have given United a slot in the top four, United will gladly take it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but looking at their performance throughout, I think both teams, one way or the other, overachieved. But again, looking at the circumstances and the position both found themselves at some point in the season, they should be disappointed about the way the season ended. Most especially Arsenal, because yes, nobody actually gave them the chance to even make the top four, not to talk of now competing for the title. But there was a point in time that the title was under their control, which they could have probably won. So that the way it ended probably was disappointing. But that doesn't mean they had a bad or a terrible or a disastrous season as most people want it to look like. Just probably because they are throwing banters all around. But again, if I want to answer the question, I look at it like, okay, who is in a better position going to next season? Who feels more confident going to next season with what they have? presently, I think it is Arsenal. I think Arsenal had a better season than United. In as much as United
Won a
probably
trophy
won a trophy, I still think they have more questions
to answer.
to answer more than Arsenal. I think Arsenal have fewer questions. They have specific things that they need to address going into next season. They should feel more comfortable about themselves. If there's anything that can, of course, there is no team that is probably close to Man City. But if there's anything that can still see, okay, what are the specific issues for us to address
Address.
going to next season? I think it is Arsenal, and that
To
is
go
why
toe in toe. To go toe in toe against Manchester City.
that's why I think I just feel Arsenal had a better season than United.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olali. What about you, Kachi?
I know you asked me this last week during our production call, and I was slightly reluctant to reply you. Apologies for whatever sound you could hear in the background. It's very hard to quantify because if you're a trophy chaser or a ring chaser, obviously you have to give kudos to those who won trophies in Europe, especially West Ham United. But the truth is that West Ham United should not be compared with Arsenal and what Arsenal was able to achieve last season. This was a team that is not as deep as City, but yet were able, and if not for their capitulation over the last 3 weeks of the season, will probably still finish second, but maybe not 5 points behind. So big credit to them. Comparing them to Manchester United, I think this is the only way you put it. Who brought more joy to their team, to their fan base during the course of the season? I know United won the trophy, and kudos to them. With all of the drama that was happening at United, ETH, Ronaldo, Mason Greenwood, and all that, them being able to eventually stabilize, because this was supposed to be a stabilizing year or stabilizing season for United. This wasn't the season to actually start challenging for trophies. So for them to get a trophy out of a supposedly rebuilding, and not in terms of personnel now, but culture rebuilding year, to get a trophy out of it is heavily commendable. But to Olawale's point, we probably saw United, with all their dysfunctionality, compete for the top four, not for the title. We saw them compete for the top four, but nobody saw Arsenal compete for either the top four or even the title. We thought their bread and butter would be the cup tournament, where surprises could be strong, but they held their own. Ultimately, their fallibility, because of how thin the squad is, did them in. The inexperience also of leading the table at the tail end of the championship also did them in. But you cannot say they did not have an amazing season. It was really not.
It's better. Arsenal had a better season.
I give the edge to Arsenal.
All right, I'll disagree with both of you. Trophy is always important. It's like a kid going to school and coming back from school with a present. You know, I can remember vividly when I was in secondary school, and I want to delve into that anyways. But coming back with a present just shows you that, okay, at the end of the day, you actually did something. You know, and coming second, nobody remembers who came second. So for me, and honestly, I will build on your point, Okukachi, where you said this was supposed to be a rebuilding phase for United, and I strongly feel, and I wish Sheyi was there. Sheyi said something about the tininess of the Manchester United squad. If they've had additions in January, good additions, quality additions, and Casemiro did not go on that suspension spree, we could have had something better coming from United over the course of last season. Apart from competing against Newcastle, at the point I think they were 5 points or 3 points away from the top of the Premier League, albeit having extra game at hand. So for me personally, because they were rebuilding and they could actually struggle to get a trophy out of the season, I will place their season a little bit better than Arsenal. No disrespect to Arsenal, they did wonderfully well for themselves, coming second. But the way they fumbled the bag at the tail end, yo, compared to United, United had more excuses than Arsenal at the end of the day.
But
At the end of
sorry,
the
sorry
day,
to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. I think you can probably the same thing you are saying of Arsenal, like the way it all ended. I think you can say you can have the same opinion about United too, especially the way ETH probably handle as in the way he handled the Europa League. What do you call it?
game against
Competition,
Sevilla,
like how they were outside by against
Sevilla.
Sevilla, because it's disappointing that after you defeated Barcelona and Real Betis, who are probably doing better in the league, and for you to go and lose to Sevilla especially in the first leg, in a game that looks like it was under control.
It was yours
within
to
the first,
win. Exactly. You went 2-0 up.
in the first 45 minutes,
That's
and
it.
after 45 minutes, you started. What do you call it? You just probably
Remove
substituted four
Bruno
players and
Fernandes.
lost
Yeah,
their rhythm.
yeah, yeah. The
The
game
team lost
management.
their rhythm.
The game
Yeah,
management.
unfortunately,
Yeah. Why?
unfortunately, injury happens to what do you call it? What do you call it? This guy,
Martinez,
Martinez
Lisandro
and
Martinez.
in the latter part of the match. But again, United could have won. Mr. Martinez, sorry, but United could have won that game if ETH has probably left that team that started the game for a little bit longer, and they've gotten their third goal, and probably that second leg wouldn't have mattered at all. So if United have probably won that Europa League, I will have comfortably tell you that
they had the better season.
had a better season than Arsenal. But the way that was handled, I wasn't too comfortable with
But
that.
don't forget that Arsenal in the same vein fumbled the bag against Sporting Lisbon. The same thing, it gave Kyo Jakob a baptism of fire against Sporting in that same Europa League. And one response to Yola would be Harry Maguire. I'm not going to say anything apart from that. Harry Maguire. That's the response to what he said. And of course, Jude Bellingham moved to Real Madrid. And people have been doubting.
I'm not a big fan of Harry Maguire. On most people's note,
It was unfortunate, but it's just Harry Maguire. There's nothing you can do about it. It was unfortunate, but it's Harry Maguire. I'm sorry to say that, but it's Harry Maguire. I know it was unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing you could do about the first goal. There was nothing you could do about the second goal. I think the first goal was an own goal by Luke Shaw, if I'm not mistaken, or Malacia.
No, both of them were own goal by. Both of them were own goals by. I think
Malacia was the first one. Harry Maguire was the second one.
Own goals. One was.
Yeah, they were both own goals.
Okay, yes, I think so.
They were both own goals. But that second one, I wouldn't blame Harry Maguire, but it's Harry Maguire. With a better positioning, with a clearer edge, probably wouldn't have scored that own goal. But it's Harry Maguire, for crying out loud. Anyways, Jude Bellingham moved to Real Madrid. This is a kid that left. Sorry, I forgot the name of that team right now.
I believe.
Sorry?
Birmingham
City.
Yeah, Jude Bellingham.
City.
Yeah, he left Birmingham City, and his jersey
Birmingham
was
City.
Yeah, thank you. And his jersey was retired as of then. And people were like, yo, it's just 16 or 17 years old. Why are they retiring his jersey? I moved to Dortmund. We saw what they did with Dortmund. And now we have a trio at Real Madrid. Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Jude Bellingham. And don't forget, you can put in the mix someone they call Federico Valverde. But we're focusing on Jude Bellingham right now. 88.5 million pounds. That's the correct amount. 103 million euros. That is the first payment they are making to Borussia Dortmund officially, according to the Guardian. So then let's start throwing numbers around and put the poor kid under pressure right now. 88.5 million pounds. That is a bargain in this particular market. But how would you rate, or what are the expectations of Jude going to Real Madrid? You know, Real Madrid is a different ball game. You might be the best player in the whole world, and you move to Real Madrid and you just become one of those guys. I don't know what the cultural value behind that club is, but he just become one of those guys. I'm like, yo, the bought this guy for FK amount, and this is the way he's playing. Ask Eden Hazard amongst other people, not just Hazard. I know, and I've been picking on Hazard for so long, both on
Mhm.
our social media
Right,
page and
right,
everywhere.
rightfully so, Adeboale.
Thank you very much for having
Uh,
my
when
back on that one.
you bring that, when you show us that potential, it is only right that we criticize you at that level and not cut you some slack.
Yeah, yeah. So Kachi, what are we expecting from Jude? And how excited should the Real Madrid faithful be? Don't forget, Tony Cruz is not leaving anytime soon.
Mhm.
Is refusing to leave. As a matter of fact, Luka Modric had refused an hefty sum of money to move to Saudi Arabia. He
Mhm.
wants to stay at Real Madrid. Real Madrid looked thin last season, especially in the front, which is still a problem for them. But focusing on the middle right now, Jude Bellingham being added to the mix, Kamavinga,
Mhm.
we know, according to reports, we heard Ancelotti is moving to Brazil as the national team coach, which I hope he does to win the World Cup and not taint his image and get sacked again by Real Madrid, because eventually everybody gets sacked by Real Madrid. It's not Arsenal, it's not Manchester United. So staying there, Jude, Kamavinga, Tomeni, Federico Valverde, Toni Cruz, Luka Modric, Dani Ceballos. It just go. The list just goes on and on and on. How excited should the Real Madrid faithful be right now about this kid? I love him. He's a very good kid. I know Lawale rates Jama Mosala a little bit ahead of Jude. I'm of the opposite view. Anyways, but how excited should they be right now?
I think they should be cautiously optimistic, and the reason I say so is they are falling under the trap. And before I continue, I want to say congratulations to Spain for being the third ever winner of the UEFA Nations Cup, defeating
wow.
Croatia 5-4 on penalties.
Oh wow, that's
Dead
hard.
0-0 in regulation time. So back to your question, I definitely rate Bellingham slightly higher than Jamal Musiala. Bellingham obviously had a better World Cup as well, if not for the unfortunate elimination at the quarterfinal stage. I thought if they had made it to the semis, they probably would be in the 11th team of the tournament, first 11. But I said they should be cautiously optimistic simply because that is not where Real Madrid really needs to fortify right now. He is a Galactico signing, not a signing based on needs basis. Because I thought the midfield triumvirate for the future was secure between Federico Valverde, Camavinga, and Tchouaméni. Adding a fourth midfielder who, albeit can play in either side of it, of either side of the midfield, is a good thing. But let's not forget that a single injury to Bernard Mendy, or is it Bernard Mendy? I can't remember. To Mendy, let me not get the first name, ultimately exposed Real Madrid this season and got Camavinga to deputize in that role that I believe he only played once at the World Cup against Tunisia. I thought getting a second left back would have been an immediate need for Real Madrid. But in terms of what he would do, what this tells me is Real Madrid's future in that middle is
secured.
So whether, yes, there will be people competing for spaces. For me, the person who falls down the pecking order now is Camavinga, because they will tell him, well, to make the team, you have to play the left back role right now. What it also tells me is the likes of Cruz and Bridge can course through one more year with Madrid, playing 35 to 40, maybe playing 60 games, but starting 35 to 40 games, giving them enough time to be impactful at the business end of the season. Similar to how Marcelo was treated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they should be optimistic, but they should temper it with caution, because it is a Galactico signing and not a signing based on an immediate need for reinforcement. Right now, I believe that right side of their defense is their problem area and not the middle.
I don't know. I think they don't even have a striker to start with. Anyway, Solale.
That one, don't worry about that one. Mbappe is coming. All that has to happen is because this guy would ultimately leave for Brazil. I totally think he's leaving for Brazil. I agree with you that he's going to Brazil. Florentino has to tell whoever his replacement is that the expectation, I know you are Madrid, but in the eyes of the world, it might look like we want you to win all the 6 trophies you compete for. But personally, to me, my expectation is wait this year and I will get you Mbappe next year. Then we can start to talk about a new team in Real Madrid.
But Mbappe, but that's another problem. Mbappe doesn't like to play through the middle. Mbappe prefers to play from the left, and he has expressed that over and over again. And that is Vinicius Junior's wing.
They will play a false 9 mode. They have to make that front three very fluid. In similar to the what was it called then?
Barcelona.
What was it called?
But which one?
The BBC.
The BBC, yeah, Ronaldo, yeah, BBC, Ronaldo, Benzema and Bell.
That's what they have to do. They have to make it work that way.
All right, perfect. Olale, what about you? How excited should they be right now having Jude Bellingham? And have you changed your mind about Jamal Musiala versus Jude Bellingham question?
Probably no. But the team, what I did last week was probably more informed by what do you call it? Bayern eventually winning the league.
Oh, okay.
Not in terms of what I've seen from the two of them. I don't think there is much significant difference between. I don't think at this stage in time, at this point in time of their career, you can clearly say one is quite better than other. I think they are still most likely at their developmental stage. So, but again, looking at Jude Bellingham to Real Madrid, we've seen a lot of this kind of deals before, and we've seen a couple that has worked very well, and we've seen some others too that are probably not really worked well. Again, I think timing, it's a lot of things. Who is going to be the new coach next season is going to be a lot of, will determine a lot of things in terms of how this is going to work. And looking at Toni Kroos and Modric, who probably are nearing, and Luka Modric, who are probably nearing the end of their career at Real Madrid at this stage, gives probably Jude Bellingham a lot of chance to succeed. I think if he goes with the right mindset, if he's there to, if he's not seeing himself as a superstar, if he's seeing himself as that player who is going to Madrid to prove a point and to fight for a shirt, I think he's going to succeed. I just think the timing might be right for him. Well, with what Kachi raised about Camavinga, what do you call it? Valverde. Yes, Valverde is a big option for them in the middle. But most often, in the past 2 seasons, we've seen Valverde being more of a utility player. A lot of times, they play him on the right. Most times to give them a little bit of defensive solidity. Yes, I know it's actually a central midfielder. And we see Camavinga too, on the other hand, playing significant minutes on the left back position. Even though, yes, that is not his that's not his preferred position, but we've seen him playing. But the most major worry for me is, even among these 4 players, again, I don't see anyone among those 4 who is a natural, let me say, ball winner or a defensive midfielder per se, who probably wants to sit back. But again, it doesn't really matter at times. At times, it's about the combination. It's about
how well they can combine.
I think so I think they can actually. I foresee him having a very good. What do you call it?
I'll say
a very good career at Madrid. But again, whoever come, if Ancelotti is not going to be there, it will largely be about whoever comes in next season to be the coach of Real Madrid.
I, they should go back for Jose Mourinho. I think Roma, most Jose and Roma would eventually divorce over the summer. That is sure. I won't go for Nagelsmann if Ancelotti leaves. I won't go for Nagelsmann. I'm thinking of other coaches available that are good and prime coaches, top notch coaches. You know. But anyways, we'll leave it at that, and I'll come back to you, Oracle Kachi. And the fact is, who should be on the podium for the Ballon d'Or? People have been clamoring, Messi. Somehow they want to smuggle Messi back into the narrative because he won the World Cup. Ellen Haaland is being smuggled into the narration as well. He had a fantastic season, 52 goals overall, highest goal scorer in the league, highest goal scorer in the Champions League as well. Mbappe had a terrific season with PSG as well, 28 goals in the league alone. He had a significant number of goals in the Champions League as well. And KDB is the ticking brain behind Manchester City. You can't take it away from him as well. You have I think that's about it for me that I can think of. Those four players are top players, and of course Vinicius Junior as well. Marvelous season for him as well. So for you personally, who should be on the podium? I'm not talking about who should be the winner right now, just the podium, not in any certain ascending or descending order. Yeah.
Without a doubt, it has to be Messi. Obviously, has to be there. Beyond the fact that he won the World Cup, he was also the most valuable player there, and he has the enviable record of being the first player to score in every stage of a single World Cup, every single stage. Whether those penalties were warranted or not, that's for another.
We need to go back to that, right?
That's another kettle of fish entirely.
Oh God!
But kudos to him. He definitely has to be there. And in Haaland, for what he has done in his very first season, because let's not forget this is a seasonal award. Challenge now is what period becomes the period under review. We know they might have to change the goalpost, the criteria this year because the World Cup was held in
the winter,
in November, December. Otherwise, typically, I believe it's an August to July kind of date, like that. So, but beyond that, an amazing first season for Erling Haaland in England, smashing records left, right, and center, and the fact that he helped City get to that level that they were. So the singular addition that led to this City winning this was Erling Haaland. Every other person I believe was there before now. Manuel Akanji, I believe, also came in this season.
He came in this season.
But Erling Haaland is the singular factor who got the decisive goals that got them there. Won the treble, was highest goal scorer at the UEFA Champions League as well. For the third person, and I think that's where it begins to get heavily
dicey.
Not necessarily dicey, but it becomes relative. So relativity now comes in, and you have to always look at point of view of different people. You can argue the case of Ike Gundogan, who skippered immensely well, probably even showed more maturity than the likes of KDB. Yes, I know KDB got the assist and all that, but big mention to KDB as well. I'm moving to Germany. Bayern Munich weren't the most dominant. You can't really pick out a singular player there that lit up the league. Mbappe would only be there on a names basis, not really because he also...
We had a fantastic World Cup as well.
You are pretty much arguing the case of Messi winning the Ballon d'Or in the year that Germany...
But he just placed Messi there because of the World Cup.
Yeah. I placed Messi there because he won the World Cup. But let's also remember that the world gave Messi the Ballon d'Or in the year he lost to Germany as well. So I think that is what might get the sentimentalists to bring Mbappe in. But beyond that, relativity comes in after the first two between Messi and
So who will be your third person? You're behaving like Olali right now. Just
because
tell us your third
it's
person.
it's so tough to put a third person, but because I also know that sponsorships also count, maybe I would do Mbappe. But that's to tell you how hard it was for one person to stand out this season. Maybe
Okay.
the fatigue and all that played a part, but it's hard. One name just doesn't stand out.
Stand out
This
should
year.
be there. All right, perfect. I agree with you totally. Olali, what about you? The three people on the
Yeah,
podium.
but I mean, I think for me, to start with, we had the World Cup in an unusual.
Fashion,
Ideally, the World Cup should have been held in
the summer.
June
June.
June 2022,
Mhm.
which means whatever performance what do you call it?
The World
Whatever
Cup win.
performance winner should have gone with the award in 2022,
Exactly.
not
Hmm.
2023.
Hmm.
Because at that period, for me, going with the award in 2023 looks somehow, personally. And I think what probably UEFA and FIFA or whoever organizing the award should have done was to have delayed the 2022 award probably to just after the World Cup to just round it up with that. Because I still find it difficult to probably choose Messi as what do you call it
The
on the
best.
top three based on the World Cup performance. I don't think I will do that. I think as far as I'm concerned, I think whatever happens at the World Cup ended with 2022. And considering the fact that PSG has a terrible after World Cup performance, they just struggle just to win the league, and they hardly made any impact in Europe.
Average Champions League.
I will probably exhibit the same energy for Kylian Mbappe. So I think both two of them, I won't probably put them on the podium. Now
Oh
the
wow.
question now remains, the question now remains, who gets to the podium? That's where the bigger question is. And probably because of the way Ronaldo and Messi has dominated this award in the
For too
past,
long.
I am struggling to get my head around the top three. Probably you pick Alan for his sheer goal scoring, what do you call it? Performance
Yeah.
this season.
Performance this season, yeah.
Yeah, you get Alan there. Uh, I don't know. It just looks like we have more of a team round performance now around the Europe.
What
rather
about
than
What
one.
about KDB?
I want to put KDB there, but again, I just saw that final performance. Unfortunately, that injury just and again KDB too. There was a period this season that it was neither here or there.
Yeah.
It wasn't a performance that fought across a whole season.
For the whole season.
So that's why for me it's a bit I'm a bit struggling to get names around. Probably I'll put Vinicius there, but again, with no trophy to show for it, it could be a tough, what do you call it, a tough call
Tough call.
to get him in that. But I think probably I would just put Vinicius, and probably the third guy is going to be, I don't know, it's difficult honestly. So probably
Messi will be back.
Mbappe there could have an argument to probably sneak one of the two into the top into
Top
the
three.
podium, but I don't know. I just don't want to put those two at the same time. I think I'm struggling to get
Any other strong performance across Europe. Yeah, I understand the dilemma. Yeah, that makes sense a lot. It's difficult to actually think of any player. Personally, for me, I'll put KDB, Erling Haaland, and of course I'll put Messi because he won the World Cup. Personally, because he won the World Cup. But with Olali's argument of 2022 to stay in 2022, it becomes a little bit more difficult for you to translate the situation effectively. And this is more of a bant than anything serious. Bruno Fernandes versus Endo Fernandez, the debate is more of a bant, as a matter of fact. And I think we should just put that in the bin. Ruben Neves is moving to Al-Ahly. Talks are ongoing, but probably moving to Al-Ahly for £55 million. I don't understand what exactly is happening with the guy at 23 years old, moving to Saudi Arabia. Please.
It won't be the first. I remember a certain Brazilian boy,
Oscar,
Oscar.
that left for China.
Exactly. So he won't be the first.
But should be the peak of his power. Why is he moving right now? Oscar left at 26 or 27 years old. This guy is 23 or 24 years old. Why is he moving right now?
Okay.
I don't understand. If it's money, you still get like 300, 200,000 quids in some other clubs. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is, bye bye to the talent, bye bye to that player. And of course, Kashi, your young player of the year in Europe, and why?
It has to be Vinicius Junior.
Oh wow, why do you have to steal my? Why do you have to steal? I should have
Uh,
said it first.
he was heads and shoulders even above the Jude Bellingham and Musiala that we were talking about. Yes, didn't have the most amazing World Cup, but that Brazilian team was stacked. We can understand that. Um, Games that Madrid shouldn't have been in addition to Courtois, I think it was Vinicius who held them there. A little bit more maturity has come into his game, more clinical in front of goal, understanding when to play with the main striker as well. And of course, it takes a lot to go through all the racial diatribes and racism he experienced, and still hold your head high. So definitely Vinicius for me, young player of the year in Europe.
All right, perfect. Since you went for Vinicius Junior, I don't have a choice. I can't go with you because I don't like following the crowd. So I'll go for Erling, which is an obvious choice. Which ordinarily I would have gone for. I would have gone for Jude. I would have gone for Vinny, but I don't like Kachi so much. So I have to go. I have to go for Erling. Olali, your own young player of the year in Europe, and why? Olali is frozen again, I guess. Okay,
My player
Olali,
of the
go
year in
ahead.
Europe.
Yeah, young,
Okay, my player of the year in Europe. Yes, I think
young,
right.
young player,
Just because
young
I was
player.
young player of the year, young.
Yeah,
Do we have any young player around?
we have many. We have
Please,
Elinana, we have Vinicius
can
Junior, we have Jude, we
please,
have
please.
Jama
I don't
Mosela,
want to.
we have Enzo Fernandez, we have Ganacho. We have Diallo. So many. We have Bukayo Saka. We have Gabriel Martinelli.
I understand the fact that. But thank you. I understand the fact that some of these guys are quite young, but some of them have been on this stage for a significant number of seasons. I've seen Bukayo Saka for like 3 seasons. I struggle to categorize him as a young player. The same thing applies to Haaland. This reminds me of those years where Ronaldo and Fabregas were being nominated for Young Player of the Year in the Premier League when they've had like 3 or 4 seasons under their belt. So for me, I think I would rather want to take it as probably the new kids on the block, which again, but Young Player of the Year. Is it that I don't watch enough football again that I struggle to get some of these
No, no, no,
guys?
no. You can add Modric. Mikalo Modric of Chelsea.
Nah, nah.
Neighbor is just
Okay,
Why?
I think
Why is the
I'll go
young
with
guy?
Bukayo Saka. I'll go with Bukayo Saka. Because he had a very magnificent season. His production numbers are significantly improved. His awareness, his eye for goal has improved, and he is one of the best things that happened to Arsenal this season. Even though I wasn't too comfortable with the way Arteta managed him towards the end of the season. So, but again, I think he has had enough numbers behind him for me to go for him as the player of the season. Bukayo Saka.
Okay. Bukayo. That's good for Bukayo. For Olale to choose Bukayo, Olale is a little bit sentimental with these kind of things. Anyways, Arsenal has put in a second bid for Declan Rice for £100 million, an additional money, in case of
Yes,
milestone
Bukayo Saka
additions.
is my, what do you call it?
Yeah, Yeah, additional amount of money for Declan Rice, but that means Thomas Partey will probably leave. Ghana Shaka definitely is going to leave. What is it wise for Arsenal to release Thomas Partey if they get Declan Rice? Personally, for me, I don't think it's wise, but I want to hear your opinion about that. Alali, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, what's that, Debo? Oh yeah, I didn't hear
Yeah,
that very well.
Declan Rice is about to move to Arsenal, presumably. If all things being equal, that's if Manchester City doesn't hijack the transfer. But if it does, that means Partey will probably move. Is it wise for Arsenal to release Partey because Declan Rice is coming? And in terms of salary, the position, the method of play, how do we balance all this? Personally, I think Declan might be an upgrade because of age.
I think
Go
I
ahead.
personally I think if
Kachi, you might just want to take over from there.
okay,
I don't want to. I don't expect Partey to leave. Remember, I said what ultimately did Arsenal in last year, or during the just concluded season, was their lack of depth. Adding a Declan Rice to a room that is losing Granit Xhaka, it's probably for me. For me now, I'm not saying they're like for like players, but it's almost like okay, one goes, I bring in fresher legs. They need that depth. I'm not sure I've read anywhere that the arrival of Declan Rice would lead to a potential departure for Thomas Partey. It would be hard for him to find ready suitors that want to take him in right now. I think he should stay, fight for his jersey. I think it helps Arsenal's quest to go back to challenging for the biggest title. They are the only team owned by Stan Kroenke who hasn't
that did not win anything.
Who has not won a title in the last 3 years. I think they ultimately get something done, but it will mean retaining, or rather, it will require retaining those two guys. Well, primarily signing Declan and retaining
Thomas Partey and
I
Jorginho.
did read on 433's Instagram page that Arsenal has concluded the signing of Kai Havertz. I'm not sure how true that is, but I saw it on 433.
That's Alawale's adopted son. Alawale, Kai Havertz to Arsenal. Kai Havertz to Arsenal. Your adopted son.
nonsense.
He's moving to
Nonsense.
Arsenal. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Nonsense. I don't. It doesn't make sense from any footballing point of view.
Mhm.
Because I don't say it doesn't suit the Arsenal style. Because I keep saying for the past 2 years, I still don't understand Kai Havertz's role on the pitch of play. He doesn't have, let me put it like this, he doesn't have a position. He's not a striker for me, which I think that's the best he could offer. He's not a number 10. Neither is it a 8. So I just think he's a player that creates a lot of tactical problem for
the coach.
For the coach. So I think it is something Arsenal should avoid. I am saying
Kachi said 433 said they've concluded the deal.
Yeah.
I just hope it's just one of those nonsense things that goes around that never materialize. Because
I haven't read it.
No.
Well,
Kachi, I've seen the news around too. I'm not disputing the source of the news. I'm just saying I hope it doesn't just materialize, because if that materializes, it sets Arsenal backward than, let me say, forward. I don't see how it helps them.
Interesting you said that, Olawale, because if you check, I had to put a comment there when I tagged you, Debo. I said I did not know that Kai Havertz fits into your plan as a club. I
don't understand.
Do you know when you think of
it does not make any footballing sense?
It
does not make any footballing sense. It does not.
Totally does not.
Because that guy is not better than Eddie Nketiah. Not how much more Leno Trossard or Gabriel Jesus. So he's not going to fit into that place. Are you going to take him? It's like buying another Fabio Vieira. It's going to create another problem for you. He's not going to be able to do the dirty ones that Xhaka does in the middle of the park. So why are you getting that kind of player? It does not fit into the philosophy in any way, form, or fashion. Olale, just before we go then, Kimai might not be moving to Manchester United. Manchester United are offering lower amount of money, but of course, United are in a kind of fix right now because they are in the middle of a takeover, a potential takeover by the
A potential
Qataris.
takeover.
Yeah, a potential takeover. Yeah, nothing is solid right now, but the
Yeah.
feelers we are getting is the Qataris will get the club eventually. Hoping the English will not come back with their poor tactics of trying to frustrate potential buyers, like they've eventually crossed Chelsea. They crushed that club. They made that club useless. That club is being run by, I don't know, no bad word on radio. Anyways, I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but if eventually if those guys are not frustrated, United will get them. Is United prime right now? Give this guy the amount of money that he needs right now, which is £8 million or euros per year. Cement it. We know Varane will always get injured. Uh, Lindelof will not get you across that bridge that you're expecting to get you to. Lisandro Martinez is a wonderful central defender. Pairing with Kim will just cement United, and you have Varane. When he's not injured, he can always play. Is this something that United should just close their eyes and do right now? Because it's the best opportunity. It might not come back as soon as you expect.
That's the best thing they should do. But haven't if you have probably been monitoring United in summer transfer windows in the past, let me say 3, 4, 5 years, this kind of things should not be new to you. You see them highly linked with a player for a long, significant period of time. And from nowhere, you just see that the player probably ends up with another club. The next thing we start hearing from the media was it wasn't really United's first option. They were trying to do so. So for me, I've been saying this news for a long period. I think it should be a good signing. But at the back of my mind, I just don't think United have. I think due to the takeover uncertainty that the club, the uncertainty that the club find themselves now, I don't think they have probably a coordinated, what do you call it, transfer window approach in terms of who are we going to buy, how much fund is available for the coach.
Available, yeah.
I think they have a lot of questions than probably a strategy. They have a lot of questions to answer more than them having a strategy on this and what these are the players we want to go for. I have my fear for United in this summer window. We could probably see the same thing that transpired last year, where they will miss out on a lot of their, what do you call it,
Primary
target,
transfers.
and you see a lot of desperation towards the end of the transfer window. That will probably, you see another type of Anthony deal, whereby they will just pay it. No, not even Casemiro, whereby they will end up paying like 80-90 million pounds on
for an average
Anthony
player.
I think that will more likely happen to United than them doing what you said and what I think should have been a no-brainer deal in bringing Kim into United now. I don't see it happening. I think United will not make any significant transfer window plan until that ownership issue is resolved. And if it drags to July, August, again, I think Erik ten Hag will be in a very bad position going to
next season. All right, perfect. And of course, the Suns waived the renewal of CP3. CP3, we heard it could move to Celtic. It could move to LA Lakers. Now, Bradley Bell is moving. He has been traded to the Suns, which is a good one. But Kachi, before we go, I don't want to delve into basketball right now, but one was the fact that he said there is a Ronaldo rule at Manchester United, which means no player will earn more than £250,000 per week. But now, according to feelers that we're getting right now, thank you, Lawale, for giving us this news. Rashford contract is about to be concluded, and it's going to cost them £375,000 per week. How confused do you think United are right now, Kachi?
Not just United, but generally the world of football, compensating mid players this generation will call mid players with outlandish contracts. Yes, Rashford had a decent season.
He scored
Uh,
31 goals.
a decent season. I mean, nine mates win treble for the other side.
31 goals also in
In
all
all competition.
competition.
In all
You need to say
competition,
that
yeah.
31 goals in all competition. Not
I just
not
think
Premier League alone.
I think that money is too much for him. But it is a reflection of the kind of market we operating now in football.
But
Yes,
they say they're not going to give anybody over 250k.
leave
They
the
even made the rule.
they probably closed that deal because the Qataris, the offer the
Oh
Qataris
yeah,
got in
yeah. All money pumping.
serious money is coming to the hands of the Glazers right now.
6 billion is no joke.
It's not a joke. So yeah, for every player that gets his bag, big kudos to them, whether they deserve it or not. I don't think he deserves it, but I'm not going to knock a man who earns his money. I personally know I want to be paid a whole lot more than I think I am worth right now. But there are several factors that are informing that move, and I think the Glazers are probably been enticed by this last bid from the Qataris.
6 billion. And that's a club they go for, I think, 850 million pounds. And they borrow so much against that club.
Mhm.
You know, those guys are smart. They are smart guys, though. Honestly, they are very smart. Anyways, that's the wrap for the show. If you like and enjoy this show, we're gonna break it down into pieces, so you can actually watch each episode. And I say episode, each topic side by side as against watching the whole 1 hour plus show for you on our YouTube channel, of course. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to watch us on Queen's Talk TV. We're going to be there tomorrow by the special grace of God by 7 a.m. Even if you are in North America, you might see us tonight. It's possible. You might see us tonight as well. Till we see you again next week. My name is Aleja Adeboale, and I would like to borrow the catchphrase of Oracle Kachi. It's nice having you guys, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. Bye, guys.